Let's make your wedding intentional as You are listening to The Bridal Breakdown.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of the Bridal Breakdown podcast. We got some updates for you guys.
We do. Before we dive in, if you're a new listener, I'm Ashley.
I'm Chris.
And I am freaking so pumped you're engaged, man. We are back, though, after a little break and after engagement season. So we are going to have probably an influx of new people who don't regularly listen.
Yeah, so all you need to know is that, man, we are so excited to be back. Like we can't state that enough. Ashley and I, we're going to be giving kind of some personal updates about just how we've been doing, and spoiler alert, we're doing really, really well. There's been times we've said that in the past, and we haven't meant it, but we're in a really good place. And so we're really excited for any new listeners. We're excited to get the podcast rolling again. It feels good to start a brand new season. But with that new season, we've made some tweaks. We're making some changes.
I'm so excited about these adjustments.
Same. Okay. What is our first big tweak that's coming to actually the format of the show in Season 2?
Aside from the fact that we're in Season 2, that's so wild to me. I love it. It's just...
What did we do? We did like 88, 89 episodes in Season 1?
Something like that.
That's a lot.
With us, we don't know when we're going to do new seasons. It's just like when there's a new evolution or like a shift and it feels right. And right now it just feels right. So
it does feel right.
Because mainly we are going to shift from our long format episodes to more bite-sized episodes. And mainly I feel like that's what I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
In a podcast myself.
Well, it's really interesting that you said that because in the past I've been like, no, I really like, I really like to push for the longer ones.
Yeah, you do.
But then also like, we also just tend to get long-winded and run and chase rabbits and stuff like that. Me more so than you, I think. But but my uncle started a podcast and he was doing it every day for a challenge he was doing. He recorded a podcast every day.
I saw that because you were on it.
Yeah, they were only like 12 to 15 minutes. And I loved it. Like I listened to his podcast every time because it's so short and so bite-sized. We're not going to go quite that short. What are we shooting for, Ashley?
So our goal is going to be like the meat of the episode, about 20 minutes, and hopefully not going over 25.
Yeah.
With like this stuff.
That would be the goal. And that's really because, guys, we value your time. We know that you got a lot going on. You probably are going to school or you got a job, your relationship, your wedding planning. And so we just want to give you the best information as concisely and as quickly as we can so that you can take it and you can run with it. Yeah.
And if this at all bums you out, if you're an OG listener and love our voices like calm you or something, which I get it.
We've heard that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm very sorry if this bums you out, although I hope you're excited that we're excited.
Yes.
And there's a way that you can get more of us.
Yeah. This is going to be the second big change of Season 2, aside from us doing more concise episodes, laser focused. We are actually starting a Patreon, which if you are not familiar with what a Patreon is, if you're new to the podcast world, Patreon is a service that exists online where people can support their favorite content creators. So not just podcasts, I mean streamers, writers, anything. If you have a service, people can support you for what you create. And so we didn't do this in Season 1. We just wanted to see how it was going to go, but it feels like the right time. We've actually had some people reach out and ask how they can support us. And so we are going to be starting a Patreon where you, the listeners, if you want to, can support us. There's basically tiers throughout Patreon. We're only going to have one tier to start with, and there's going to be 2 perks that come with it. Ashley, do you want to give them the details on what that is? What the tier is, how much it's going to be, and what the perks are, and then we'll break down the perks.
Absolutely. So we are going to offer our patrons, it's only going to be $5, you guys, by the way. It's just $5. The reason that we wanted it to be so accessible and like a low barrier of entry is because we're really passionate about community. We want to create a community where it feels right. It doesn't feel forced. And so many of our listeners want to be able to keep the show going. And this is like a low it's $5, you know?
Yeah.
And so if you want to support us and help us continue the episodes to be even more awesome, then it's $5 and you'll get patron exclusive episodes. Nowhere else will these episodes be posted.
Nope.
And they can be a little maybe more controversial, a little more juicy, a little just more Chris and I talking about things we're interested in. This is probably going to be for the people who they feel like we're friends or like they want to be friends, because we also really will be friends.
Really, we will, because the second perk that is going to happen is that we are going to exclude a patron only. Do we want to use the word patron or do we want to use the word members? I know it's Patreon. I know this is kind of a discussion we probably could have had off, but members only, patrons only? Patrons reminds me of a library.
I mean, the patron is like, I think, the unanimous word that everybody knows.
Okay, so we'll use patrons.
Yeah.
So a patron exclusive hangout that's going to happen at the end of every month, the last Sunday of every month. There's going to be a Zoom call that happens where Ashley and I come on, we hang out with you. If you are a alcohol, wine, beer, seltzer, water, Gatorade drinker, whatever you're drinking, come on and hang out with us. And this is going to be a time where we can meet you guys. You guys can ask questions. Maybe you are struggling with how to bring some intentionality to your, I don't know, you're getting morning routine, what you're doing on the wedding day.
You're trying to figure out how to tell your mom that you like, how do I break her heart?
She's being overbearing, or you know, or like
she wants these friends and I don't want her friends there. Like, what should I say? Like, this is my personal family dynamic. And like, your episode was great, but I feel like my situation's a little different. Like, we can all chime in and try to help and be there for each other, share resources that we found, things that are exciting us.
I'm sure there's been times where people have been listening to an episode and they're like, that's almost like my situation, and then they want to ask like a more specific question. So if you've ever felt that before and wanted clarity, or you just enjoy hearing our voices and like us, like, you can come hang out with us. And this isn't to like, oh, Ashley and Chris are celebrities. This is like the community aspect that we're talking about.
Like, we're actually friends.
This is what this is. Like, Ashley and I are friends. We know we've become close friends with some of you guys.
100%.
So season 2, we're really wanting to bring this community together, and we're wanting to. This is a way that we can do that. So that's what this is going to be. The episode that you'll get, and there's going to be multiple episodes that come out each month that are Patreon exclusive. But those are going to be more shoot the shit type episodes. So if you listen like for episodes 1 through 15 before we stop doing that, like in the very, very early days, that's what we're going to be talking about. Stuff like that, spilling the tea, all sorts of stuff. So those are the 2 things. Was there anything else that we needed to update them about as far as changes, updates to the podcast in season 2?
I don't think so. The only thing, and I don't know if we like what we will, how we'll do this from a formatting perspective, but Chris and I just recorded our Patreon only episode, and it's a little juicy if you want to come join. And you
can attend the tea party.
You can attend the tea party. It's also, how do I word this? You guys, this is like, so like having like a secret. Like,
I know.
So weird.
It's like, So, and we'll just, we don't want to give too much away either, because it's kind of a sensitive topic, but it's a juicy topic. And so if you like tea, but also helpful
to
tea,
be
so
helped,
like green herbal tea, you know, it's like, ooh, this is spicy and warm, but it's also got antioxidants and it's good for me. Like, that's episode 1 is already been recorded.
Yes. And so you can find that there.
And you can find a link to join Patreon in our Patreon in the show notes right now. So you can find that link in the show notes. And man, we're excited and thankful for those of you guys that are going to join us. Now that we got all that stuff out of the way, all the housekeeping, Ashley, why don't we talk about what's new with you and what's new with me? We'll just kind of update some people. We're not going to get into a wedding planning episode, detail kind of stuff. So if you're a new listener, I will be linking. If you're newly engaged, I'm going to be linking 3 episodes that you should go listen to right off the bat. If you are looking for some information, you're like, oh, I need a wedding plan, but you haven't sifted through our 88 episodes in season 1. I will link helpful episodes for newly engaged people below. And then we will have some episodes coming for you within the next month, you know. But today we're just going to talk about updates and what's been new in our lives, because there's a lot that's happened.
Oh my gosh, you guys,
you want to go first?
So much. Yes. So I think the like overarching theme is that for at least both of us is that we're good. That's so weird to say.
But like we mean it.
Like so good. I could cry. I feel so at peace and I feel like a new person, and it's crazy. I mean, we've had these episodes in the past where they were like even titled like I'm not happy with my life, or like just crap like that, because it continued to just come back. And I feel like for the last 5 years of my life, I have distracted myself from, I don't want to say my sadness, but maybe I was, because I've been like really sad in 2021. It's like a very hard year, but I just keep busy and distract myself from the way that I was feeling, I think. And then I had this period of rest recently where I couldn't ignore my sadness. And during our break, I really have started focusing on myself. And that's like, it's weird. You know, they talk about self-care, and I just feel like that's something like a buzzword. And Greta has said that on episodes before. We've talked about it on
the show. Yeah.
Like it's a buzzword.
Like bubble baths. And,
and I felt that. Like, I don't know. So I didn't know what that meant for me, like what self-care meant for me. And over the course of the last few weeks, for the first time in my life, I have been doing self-care. I don't know how to word that, but I have been taking, like, I do a bedtime routine, which I've never done, where I like light a candle and fill water in a humidifier. And like I had this ritual.
Oh, that sounds like a vibe.
Oh,
like ultimate,
turn lamps
like,
on, and
peaceful.
I turn the overhead light off, which, you guys, I've never in my life had a bedtime routine. And this sounds so silly, but I feel like that was like the catalyst of change for like me to just slow down. Like I was always go, go, go. I would like finish a work day and sit at my desk until my eyes were going to fall out. And you guys know how busy I've been, so that's part of it. But then I would go to bed, head hit the pillow, out, wake up, get coffee, not even drink water, sit at my desk until my eyes fall out again.
Yeah.
And people would say, do you have a bedtime routine? And I'm like, yeah, I wash my face and I go to bed. But now I like give myself this period of rest. Like I get ready for bed at 9:00 and I'm not tired until 10:30, but I'm ready like for bed and laying in bed and like enjoying this peace. It's been crazy. And I get ready every day, which, hello podcast listeners, if you guys have been in the like community group and seen us live, I don't get ready. I like look like a slob all the time. But I'm on like 10 days of getting ready every day, and I'm confident. Like I heard this on TikTok where somebody's like, you may be working from home and so nobody has to see you, so you don't get ready. But what you don't realize is that you still have to see you. Like you see yourself in mirrors all the time. And so I have gotten ready every day, and I'm not kidding you. Like there has been a complete shift in my mind. Like I smile all the time.
Like do you like walk by the mirror and you're like, damn, I'm feeling myself today.
100%.
Like, I can tell Lara when she does that. There it is. And you just look over. Do you ever like double take? You're like,
yeah.
Okay,
I'm like,
Ashley,
girl, you look good.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm but the point of all of that, so I don't go on, I'm filling my cup. And
I love that.
I have gone to lunch with a friend, which I haven't done in 2 years.
I know.
To just go to lunch. And I haven't had the
agenda,
space.
No business.
Nope.
Just.
Yep.
But you wanted to, is what you told me.
I wanted
like
to.
You wanted to, which is big.
And I haven't wanted to do that in years. Like it's always just been an obligation. And I have now realized, and I'm not where I need to be. I know it. There's no way I'm where I need to be in the course of the 20 days of this year. But I'm going there, and I'm happy. And my husband notices a change in me and my energy. The second I got on, Chris was like, you feel different.
I know.
Like,
I know.
I feel it. And I think it's truly
a vibe thing. I'm
filling up my cup so I can show up for others and like still have energy.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's pretty much it.
All of that for you, you know.
And I'm eating right.
Yeah. Well, talk about that a little bit. We don't have to breeze past it.
Well, I don't. Yeah. Okay. So I am doing Whole30, and I have a gluten intolerance. I don't know if I've ever talked about that on the podcast.
Well, and for those of you who don't know what Whole30 is, would you just give them a brief, just kind of like?
Yes. So Whole30 is you commit for 30 days to eating only whole foods, but there's also like a limit.
Nothing
like
in packages.
Nothing in packages, but you also can't have grain. You can't have I can't have rice or quinoa or legumes or peanuts because they're legumes. And I believe that's all because those can trigger like autoimmune responses.
Can you do dairy?
No dairy.
No dairy.
So it's all of these things that trigger like inflammation in people's bodies and like they just don't know it. And so the whole point is to figure out what in your own body you can tolerate and like works really well for you and energizes you. And so in this process, I can't just go grab something quick. I have to prepare food for myself. And so this is another form of self-care I didn't realize that I was missing. So daily I'm in my kitchen cutting vegetables and like cooking meat.
Feel good?
And like
I
also try to make it look pretty, which doesn't matter, but also at the same time it makes me feel like I'm caring for myself because I'm putting care into my food.
Yes.
It's weird. But it's been fabulous. So I'm just nourishing myself in like so many different ways. I'm kind of not focused too much on my relationship, but I've noticed that Justin witnessing me taking care of myself, he's also kind of on his journey of figuring himself out. So we're both kind of doing that simultaneously, not really together. Yeah. But what it's doing is like he's happier and I'm happier as individuals. And so we are better partners and we're like communicating better.
Dude,
so that's been cool. That'll be another journey, I'm sure, but
good.
Yeah. So we're good. We're happy. Like I can say for the first time in years, I'm happy with my life. And that's
I love that for you. I really love that for you. And you know, the goal of this was to just like we've always wanted to lead from a place of vulnerability or share like we try to be authentic people, especially on the podcast. Like sure there are things that we don't talk about, but you know, that aren't necessarily on air appropriate things, but we try to just share like and be honest, like, hey, here's what we're going through, here's where we're at. And it was important for us to kick off this season that way and to like share and to update. And so, I mean, Ashley, I just tell you, like, it makes me so happy to hear that. And to hear that you're feeling well, like, and I mean, I could see it, you said that, but when you came on screen, there was just this glow.
Thank
and
you.
It's not a makeup thing. It's not it's a just energy type thing. And so I'm so happy.
You're going to make me cry.
That you have that right now.
No, it feels so good. It really, really, truly does.
You and I have lots of conversations off air about like how we're doing and the things that we're going through. And so 2021 it was rough, man.
Yeah. You had your share of struggles as well.
Yeah, we had I think Lara would be okay with me sharing a lot of this stuff that I'll share, but 2021 was a big year of growth for me from July all the way to the end. Started a health journey, really started losing weight, eating better, mending my relationship with food, but then also really trying to focus on not having a negative mindset and automatically like defaulting to negative things.
Yes.
Which I'm still working on. But I have gotten a lot better at that and just not defaulting to the negative or to being the critic or, as Lara would say, being a dream crusher, but like trying to be more supportive, of not, but everyone's ideas, not just Lara, like everyone altogether. And so July of 2021 to December 2021 were really great. They were really good. But everything that kind of happened before, like Lara and I have referred to like June 2021 as like essentially hell month. Like it was a month where we really, really struggled and our relationship was put to the test in a lot of ways. And although like July to December was good, there were moments of like really difficult conversations that we had to have. And I mean, that was like leading up into September, like we were in our 7-year, they call it the 7-year itch.
Yes.
And fuck, man, year 7 was a bear. It really was, because it seemed like after September, it seemed like we turned a new page, like that kind of thing. But for us, I think it really stemmed around like Lara has had her own mental health journey that she's been on, and she has been working very hard to be the best version of herself that she could be. And so there was a huge emphasis on therapy every week and really working on herself, addressing her mindsets, addressing all that stuff. But there came a point in June where she had a conversation with me, and I don't know if I've shared this on the podcast, but she basically said, Chris, I feel like you are my ceiling and that I've only grown, like I can't grow any further because you're my ceiling. In leadership, the principle that John Maxwell talks about is the law of the lid. An organization can only grow and go as far as the leader can go. And so I was not growing. I was not taking care of myself mentally, physically, emotionally. I mean, I was eating like trash, the heaviest I'd ever been, lowest self-esteem I've ever had in my entire life. And so all of that translated to my relationship and to my marriage with Lara and made me not a person that was honestly probably that desirable to be with, because, you know, it's lots of insecurities and stuff that's coming through and all of that. And so for us to sit down and have that conversation, number one, it was a defining moment where she not only addressed that, but lots of other things as well. And it's really hard to get all of this feedback about yourself that you know is true, but feel like, crap, I need to change a lot of stuff. And so, but that was the start. And there were several other really big conversations that happened over the course of the rest of the year, but that was the big one. And then there was just lots of dropped ball moments where I was not a great, not even husband, just a good friend, not a good friend to my wife. And so there's like not abuse or punching walls or anything like that, but it's like just, I think sometimes negative mindsets can be really, and I don't want to say just as bad as physical abuse, but like, gosh, they're toxic. And sometimes I think can slide under the radar for so long.
Under the radar.
It's not this level 10 thing, but day in, day out, like if you're a person that brings that negative energy, which is what my default has been for so long, that stemmed from, I'm not happy with myself. And so it's really ironic to hear you say like you and Justin aren't doing something together, but you're both on your own journeys. And because of that, like you guys are more happy with where you're at. And so Lara was on her journey already she had like a 1.5 year head start on me with her being in therapy and stuff. And so by her saying, hey, dude, something's got to give. Like it caused me to really reassess where I'm at, what I'm doing, what the trajectory of my life is looking like. And then, so you guys have heard me talk about 75 Hard, and I won't get into that, but that was the catalyst for me, was doing that program and making a change that has led to lots of other really positive changes in my life and in Lara's life. And it's, we mentioned this in the Patreon episode, but you and Lara's journeys right now, like over the last 6-8 months, have been really similar with just little things. But Lara is also focusing on the things that you were talking about with eating and eating good foods and taking care of herself. Like we really discovered that over the last 7 years, because of her not being in a great place mentally, she's really put her dreams on the back burner because she just hasn't really even had the desire, the hope to dream, right? Like sometimes you can get in this space to where you're like, man, I'm just trying to get through the day. Yeah. And so her coming out of that fog, her coming out of that, her coming out of that fog has allowed her to dream again. And so it's just been so cool to see her doing well, me doing well. Like we are truly, like you talked about, you and Justin laughing all, like we're in a really good space right now, but you kind of got to go through those really dark spaces sometimes before you realize like a change needs to be made. And so,
I
think our listeners can probably relate to that, maybe in their relationships or in their personal lives.
I was telling somebody this week that I didn't realize for so long that I wasn't good. And I think that that's just because it flies under just like you're saying, it just flies under the radar, and you may not know, you can't pinpoint what's going on. And I said I had to like fall and burn in order for me to like really be able to rise. Like,
right.
It's been wild. It's been wild.
It has been. No, it totally has been. And I think
it's also, go ahead.
I think we're both full of hope right now and excitement, not even for just the podcast, but for lots of other things, like lots of other like you were telling me, and I don't know that we got into talking about hobbies, but you're really just trying to like figure out like, what is Ashley like?
Yeah.
Like, what
who
does
am
Ashley
I?
want? And
Yeah.
those are the questions that Lara's asking right now. Is
Mhm.
like, okay, my husband, like, we had a conversation, to where I'm like, hey, I want to support you in whatever way I can. What do you want to do? And so she's trying to figure that out. She's got some really big dreams, and I've shared that with Ashley. One day I'll share what some of these dreams are, or maybe, I'll share that one day. But there's a lot of things that she's getting exciting about, and it's just really cool to see my wife dream. I've done a lot of the dreaming for so long in our marriage, and so it's just really cool to see her doing well, us doing well. Now, if we can figure out parenting, that's a whole nother
I can't help
other
there.
thing. That's a whole other thing. But like right now, like Chris on his journey, I feel like I'm moving towards health, and that's not just a nutrition thing. That's like a health as my whole person, my whole being.
Mhm.
Lara right there with me, but on her own journey, and so I love that we're doing our own thing, but the goal is to like be the best version and the most healthy version of ourselves.
Yeah. And I think an important thing to remember is like you're never done.
No,
Not
not at all.
I'm never going to be the know-it-all in mental health. Definitely. Like while I'm passionate about it and I'm passionate and aware of ways that like couples can be cognizant of their mental health on their wedding day, like that from witnessing for 10 years, I personally obviously have my own struggles, and like it's like therapy. We're not therapists. Oh my God, we're not therapists.
Disclaimer, big disclaimer.
Yeah. But
which I think everyone knows.
What we know about therapists is therapists also still go to therapy, and like they're always going to be on their journey. And so we will forever be on our journey. It's just hopefully we don't lose sight of how good this feels right now because we're nourishing ourselves. And so I hope if you're listening and any of this resonates, or you are in a place that sounds reminiscent of where Chris and I just were, that maybe look at how you're caring for yourself and your body as a whole, your soul, your body, your confidence, like all of these things. I didn't realize that I had low confidence until now. I'm starting to grow my confidence.
Cannon, stop.
So look at how you're caring for yourself as a person.
Yeah.
And there's like a domino effect.
It's amazing. You talked about, there's a book that I read, The Compound Effect. I think it's by Darren Hardy. And in it, he talks about the power of bookending your day, because you can't control what happens in the middle of your day, but you can control what happens at the very start and at the very end. And that's where he talks about in the book the importance of routines and like how they set the tone. Like you set the tone at the start, then it could be a potentially great day or a shitstorm, and then you reset the tone in the evening. But for you, it was this little thing that may have seemed insignificant that started the domino effect. Like, and all it was like, I'm going to prioritize Ashley. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put my needs first for now.
And also, I don't know, you keep going. That was a good thought.
No, I was going to say, for so long, like our job is all about other people.
Yeah.
And in marriage, you try to give as much as you can to the other person. And it's so easy to lose sight of like, I have to care for myself too. Mm-hmm. I have to take care of where I'm at. And so if you're a listener that is feeling burned out, if you're feeling like you're at the end of your rope, you're not looking forward to tomorrow because you're not happy with yourself or your life or where you're at, like, have hope. Like, things can change. And I don't say that as like you're enabling things to be bad. Sometimes we just get caught in our normal. We talked about things just go under the radar, but it's because our normal can feel just like, oh, this is what everyone else goes through. It's fine. Nothing's wrong. This isn't. And so we accept things in our lives that feel normal just because they've been around for so long. But a kid that's been exposed to abuse their whole life, they may think that's normal, but that doesn't change the fact that it's not good and it's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so for some of us, we unfortunately do have to hit a spot that causes us like a turning point. Like, what was that turning point for you, if you don't mind me asking? Like to where you were like, I need to make a shift, or something's got to change.
I don't know. Mine was slow. You know, I feel
Yeah.
like what I kept saying is I I feel like I've lost myself. Like that was something I was saying all the time to everybody. Like, I don't know what I like. Or like somebody asked me like what my hobby is, and I'm like, I don't know. I just work all the time.
Yeah.
And that was really starting to bother me that I didn't know myself, but also now that I think about it, I have like at one point over the course of a couple days, I got 4 text messages from friends asking me to go to coffee, and I didn't respond to any of them. And that started to really bother me that I didn't want to go to coffee with my friends. And it's just
Yeah.
freaking coffee. You know? It's like it can be 1 hour, and I didn't want to do that. And that started to really like make me question what was going on. And so I got sick. That like I got the vid. And when
You
that
got the vid.
happened,
Yep.
I had to rest. Like I had no choice but to sleep all the time. Like you're so tired. And so I was like resting. And one day I just started to feel a little bit better. And I lit a candle and turned off the lights and had lamps going. And I have blackout curtains because the headaches were so bad.
That's what I hear.
Oh my God, they were so bad. So I've never had blackout curtains because I always said, I want the sun to wake me up. And
I can
so-
understand that. I can
so-
get that.
now I have the blackout curtains, and I had like the lamp on, and I'm not using an overhead light at night, and I lit a candle. And that was step 1. And I didn't move into step 2 of like eating better or getting ready every day right away. I feel like that would have been overwhelming and I would have failed, you know? And I didn't even
Yeah.
realize I was doing it. So in this, just I want to say it wasn't an overnight, you know, Ashley did this and this worked for her. Like I would encourage you to try one thing at a time in
Yeah.
caring for yourself so it's sustainable to do daily. So I started with the bedtime routine. And then when that started to feel good and I looked forward to it every day, that was when I added, okay, let's get ready in the morning every day. And
Yeah.
anyways, what was yours though?
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely the conversation it was the whole month of June of 2021, Hell Week for Lara and I. But there was the phrase like, you are my ceiling. I can't, that crushed me in a lot of ways.
You also realize your impact, like the impact you have on
Right.
others without like, you're like, oh, I didn't even realize that.
Totally. And so, I mean, that conversation, and a lot of times couples don't want to talk about that stuff because it's like, it's hard. I get it. Like, who wants to have another fight? And it seems like something like that could cause a big, oh yeah, well, you're my lit, like,
Yeah.
but there's got to be that level of like humility in a and I don't even know how to cultivate that. Like, I don't have a
Answer.
I don't have an answer on how to achieve that other than like, I was unhappy with myself, and I also knew I needed a change as well. And that was the phrase that I needed to go like, well, it's not just me that's unhappy with me. My partner and probably my kids are also unhappy with me as well. So there was a lot of that. It's like, I wanted it too, but it's like them knowing that that my energy was changing the home for not the best was also like motivation to be like, all right, let's do this. Like, I need to change. And then, the rest is kind of history with the steps that I decided to take.
Something else that I want to point out is, and this can potentially be the last thing-ish, I guess,
Sure.
but I read all the books. I knew I was burnt out. I knew I was overwhelmed and burnt out. I literally read all the books. My entire Audible is all like burnout, overwhelm. Like, just, I was searching for someone else to give me the answer, and like for Ashley's telling you right now, like, bedtime routine, get ready, build confidence. That
could be your book on burnout, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And like Chris saying like 75 hard, or, like eat better, nutrition, like these are the things that were our catalysts. And like, again, I read all the freaking books.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think you have to figure out like, what is your small baby step going to be? Like, nobody can tell you. You can't read it in a book. Maybe you can. Like, you get ideas and inspiration. But I just wanted to say, I've read all the books, and all the books did not work for me.
Yeah.
I listened to my body. I think that that's the key, is like, try to listen to your body.
That's really interesting because my change, I did something that involved my body. Your change was, you did something that your body was a part of, like the environment, which is that affects your eyes, which affect your mind, which affects, your serotonin and dopamine and probably even your cortisol production, like all of that stuff. Like it's really interesting. The listen to your body advice. Like I know what I'm about to say is a little woo woo. So bear with me, but I mean, if you don't know where to start, like you can ask your body, like you can sit, and I know this is woo woo as fuck. I know, but like you could sit in a room, you can close your eyes, you can try to focus on your body and literally ask it, like, what do you need? And like, just trust that whatever the first word that comes to mind is like, that's what your body needs. Your body might tell you rest. I need sleep.
Yep.
I need
getting rest.
Nutrition, and then it's like, okay, rest was the first word. How can I rest? And because guys, rest isn't just sleep. I think a lot of people confuse that. Like rest can be so many things, like rest from stimulation, which I'll share this last little tip and then we can start to wrap up. But I turned all of my alerts off on my phone. I don't know. Did I tell you this?
Mm-hmm.
It has been the best decision I've ever made in my life. I don't get a ding, a ping, or a buzz at all. And anytime I hear one, my cortisol goes up. Like it's been so great to not have that thing steal my attention away. Mm-hmm. Like little simple things like that. I would highly recommend. And you actually told me about this book, but The Art of Showing Up. I read that whole book. It was amazing. The whole first part of the book is all about how to show up for yourself. If you don't know where to start, there might be some practical steps in there. Here I am recommending a book, but we also recommend ask your body.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And do not disturb on your phone is the best thing ever. I have do not disturb on literally 24 hours a day. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
It's great. So
it helps you a ton. So yeah. I know that took kind of like it got a little serious there for a minute, but know that like, guys, we just want to be honest with you. And that's the tone that we're going to bring with all these episodes. Like the whole heart behind this podcast is like, let's talk about real stuff that is real that maybe people don't talk about, right? Like right now we're talking about our personal lives, but this translates over to the wedding industry, your wedding day, like all of this stuff. We want to bring the authenticity. We want to bring the real conversations and know that the co-hosts of your favorite show are feeling really good and really excited to go into season 2.
So,
you got anything else to add?
No, I just feel so good. I am really, really excited. I'm feeling kind of at peace at the moment.
Yeah, same.
Like my energy is
just
very
like zen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
This also was a smidge longer, but we both had like life updates to share.
And then we also did have 8 minutes of housekeeping on the front end. So just know that. It's a tiny reminder. It's going to be some episodes for you new engaged people in the show notes. Go follow us on Instagram. We're going to start to be more active on there. Go ahead and join our Facebook community. That is not a Patreon exclusive. You can join that. Anyone can join that. And then that link is in the show notes. And then the link to join Patreon is also in the show notes if you want to support the show. Thank you guys so much. We will talk to you guys next week.
See you then.